man.
Vaughn died lacking. Nipsey died lacking. Pop Smoke died lacking.
Right.
So can't lack?
No, you can't.
Me and my friends was going around the corner to kill him.
January 18th, 2018, XXX Tentacion, during a live interview with DJ Academics, revealed his shocking beef with Canadian rapper Drake. Now, this interview left more questions than answers, and what happened next at TripXX Tentacion shook the foundations of Hollywood. Here are the most disturbing interviews with gang rappers. Lil Wayne.
How I know I had mental health problems was I pulled the trigger.
You actually pulled the trigger?
Yeah, I pulled the trigger.
Not everybody can really disclose an attempted suicide to the public, especially when it was caused by some kind of mental health issue. Nonetheless, Lil Wayne, given his problem with attempted suicide when he was younger in an interview with Emmanuel Acho, was pretty rough. Born on September 27, 1982, Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., aka Lil Wayne, is an American rapper, singer, and record executive. Hailing from New Orleans, Louisiana, he began his career in the music industry at a young age. It wasn't hard to see this guy be an exceptional talent, especially after he joined Hot Boys and became a landmark of success in the music industry. Now, if we look at Lil Wayne from the outside, you see talent, fame, fortune, and a life almost everybody would want to have. But what most people don't know was the secret battle he was facing while he was rising to the top. One such battle was his mental health problem, and this was the main discussion during that interview with Emmanuel Acho. Now, one can only imagine the truckload of courage it took him to open up about something like this. This man was faced with despair, really contemplating about taking his own life. The revelation was a disturbing moment in this interview, as it really poured out the raw and unfiltered emotion that came with such a traumatic experience. And during that conversation with Acho, it came to light that he started struggling with mental health problems as early as 10. He gave his reasons as to why suicide came into play at the age of 12, which he carried out in naivety whilst looking in the mirror. In his ordeal, his saving grace was a white police officer named Uncle Bob, who noticed him after the police arrived following the incident. If Uncle Bob hadn't rushed Lil Wayne to the hospital, we would have never experienced his impact on hip-hop and that impressive discography, which regarded him as one of the greatest rappers of his generation. And being a man with a good heart, even though some may think otherwise, another reason Lil Wayne shared this memory in that interview was to give a voice to those who found themselves in a similar situation. According to him, they don't need to suffer in silence. They need to speak out and get the help they need before it becomes too late.
Why you want to be here today?
Figuring I can help, hoping I can help anyone else out there who's dealing with any mental health problems.
Snoop Dogg.
Gotta do something now. Now you gotta prove yourself, and it's not a game no more. It's not a joke no more. It's not just, hey, we hanging out. No, we need to do something now.
What you saw there was Snoop Dogg indirectly admitting to the fact that he was a member of the Crips. Rappers being affiliated with gangs is almost like bread and butter, but for a legend like Snoop Dogg, that's a totally different story. Born October 20th, 1971, Calvin Cortazar Broadus Jr., aka Snoop Dogg, is an iconic American rapper, singer, songwriter, record producer, and actor. He emerged on the hip-hop scene in the early 90s, rising to fame under the mentorship of Dr. Dre. That distinctive West Coast style, characterized by his laid-back delivery and smooth flow, played a crucial role in shaping his type of genre during that era. Now, despite facing legal challenges, including his well-documented trial for murder, of which he was acquitted, Snoop Dogg's career continued to thrive. He diversified his artistic endeavors by exploring acting and collaborating with various artists across different genres. His smooth voice led to collaborations with artists like Pharrell Williams, Katy Perry, and David Guetta, to say the least. Most people believe that his success came as a result of his involvement in a gang, which of course has been a thing of speculation until that interview with Howard Stern. The fact that there was a chance he could have been treading on the path of an athlete, but how his lack of dedication took him off that path, was a bit of a confirmation to those speculations.
I think that if I would have pushed myself, Howard, I could have been, but I wasn't pushing myself. I was more entertained with the with the money and the fast life.
Like we said, rappers and gangs is like bread and butter, whether true or not. But with an icon like Snoop Dogg indirectly admitting his affiliation in an interview with Howard Stern is pretty rough. Snoop Dogg says his experience with all that was harmless, but in the interview, Howard asked, "How old were you the first time someone handed you a gun, or you had a gun in your possession?" And Snoop Dogg said, sternly, 15, 16, which is pretty young to be handed a gun. We all know D.O.G. likes to get up in the ganja, but he also admitted his involvement in using crack, which was also pretty wild. Btb Savage.
I couldn't really grab the time where it was time for me to grab the gun. She was slid it. He could have grabbed it. So shit, I told her to blow him. That's what she got to do.
March 26th, 2023. Btb Savage revealed in gruesome details how he just killed a man through his girlfriend. A man who was allegedly attempting to rob him and potentially harm his son. But Savage didn't know what was about to unfold for him. Brian Thompson, aka Btb Savage, a native of Cleveland before moving to Texas, harbored some dreams of becoming a rapper since his school days. However, financial circumstances led him to enlist in the military during his educational journey. After his military service, he decided to pursue his passion for music wholeheartedly. He would dedicate himself to the craft and diligently work towards releasing his album. His inaugural track, Marilyn Manson, was a collaboration with producers Duvin and Chino and featured V's. As he delved deeper into the music scene, he would gain momentum by dropping several popular mixtapes. Notable among these were Scam Party, which resonated with listeners, and Break the Bank, showcasing his evolving style. And most recently, Money Blood stands as a testament to his artistic growth and musical versatility. Now, in his interview with Vlad TV, he made a disturbing revelation of how he ruthlessly killed a man who initially came into his house with the aid of a younger artist. But the true agenda that man had in mind was to rob him and endanger his child and girlfriend. The incident came as a surprise for Savage, as he didn't expect the man who entered his house on a quiet note to flash his weapon, demanding his jewelry. At that point, Savage decided to be the hero of the house, engaging with this man in a brutal scuffle, leading to his girlfriend tagging in on the action as she tried to take the first shot with the gun that Savage had knocked out of the hand of the robber. The initial shot dislocated Savage's elbow, but it didn't stop that brutal scuffle. Then the second shot by his girlfriend ended up killing the robber at a slow pace. As disturbing as this was, even though Savage made mention of having some form of PTSD after the event, as he told Vlad TV, he eventually went on social media to brag about killing his enemy. Certainly that wasn't well received, because at about 6:10 p.m. the next day, Btb Savage was reportedly shot in his vehicle. What an ugly transition from disturbing interview to scary end of a promising future. 50 Cent.
Did you ever find out who did it?
Yeah, I knew who did it shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are now where?
Oh, the guy who actually shot me is dead.
The man whom everybody says has 9 lives, 50 Cent, while talking with Oprah Winfrey, gave details about how he was shot, as well as about the circumstances surrounding not just the shooting, but the fate that befell both the shooter and the orchestrator of the hit. Born on July 6, 1975, Curtis James Jackson III, aka 50 Cent, is an American rapper, actor, and entrepreneur. Raised in South Jamaica, Queens, New York, 50 Cent's early life was marked by a challenging environment involving a lot of drug dealing and violence. In 2000, he was brutally shot 9 times, an incident leaving him with a determination to pursue a career in music and escape the street life. In 2002, his breakthrough came with the release of mixtape Guess Who's Back, which caught the attention of Eminem and Dr. Dre. They signed him straight to Shady Records and Aftermath Entertainment, leading to the release of his debut studio album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', in 2003. The massive success of that album, fueled by hits like Into Club, catapulted 50 Cent to stardom, making him one of the most prominent figures in hip-hop at the time. Even as a savvy businessman with investments in various industries, 50 still revered and feared as a big-time gangster whom no one really wanted to mess with. His intimidating, complex personality with his business intellect ensures that he commands respect and discourages the idea of crossing his path. Throughout his career, 50 had faced a lot of controversy, engaging in high-profile feuds with other artists, and continually reinventing himself. For most of the people that have a 50 Cent background, they're 6 feet below, but for 50, the incident shot him to fame. As he talked with Winfrey on Oprah's Next Chapter, he mentioned that the incident was just outside his grandmother's former house, and that he was just brutally shot 9 different times all over his body.
Where were you shot?
In my hands, my legs several times, like 5 times in my hands, and then in my legs, and then in my face.
He told Oprah that he knew who carried out the shooting shortly after the incident, and when asked about the whereabouts of that person, he sternly said, "The guy who actually shot me's dead." He also said that Kenneth Supreme McGriff, the guy who put the hit out on him, is serving life in prison. After that interview, he released a single, revealing clues from this same incident. According to the song Many Men, 50 says the guy who tried to take him out died 3 weeks later, and we don't think 50 had anything to do with it, but considering his past, he very well might have. Tekashi 6ix9ine.
King Von died lacking. Nipsey died lacking. Pop Smoke died lacking.
Right.
So niggas can't lack?
No, you can't.
The practical disrespect given to King Von, Nipsey, and Pop Smoke by Tekashi in his interview with DJ Academics is what many would find pretty disturbing, as he tries to give a reason for snitching to the authorities. Born May 8, 1996, Daniel Hernandez, better yet known as 6ix9ine, is a controversial American rapper, known for his flamboyant persona, that crazy rainbow-colored hair, and numerous legal issues. Raised in Brooklyn, New York, he faced a challenging upbringing, marked by a lot of financial struggle and involvement in street life. Growing up with hip-hop all around him would eventually lead him towards the scene. 6ix9ine gained significant attention with his debut single, Gummo, released back in 2017. The aggressive style and provocative lyrics quickly garnered him fans and critics. Despite his initial success, he became intertwined with a lot of legal troubles. In 2018, he pled guilty to many charges, including racketeering, firearm offenses, and drug trafficking, leading to his cooperation with law enforcement against fellow gang members. In other words, he snitched on them. This collaboration earned him a reduced sentence and labeled him a controversial figure within the hip-hop community. April 2020, 6ix9ine was released early due to concerns over the COVID-19 pandemic. He wasted no time returning back to that spotlight, engaging in social media immediately. Despite his comeback though, he faced serious criticism for snitching to the authorities, which kind of stained his reputation within the industry. Some other interviews on the matter of his snitching have kept him in the public eye. Adding to it was the interview with DJ Academics, which was practically about his snitching to the authorities. How anyone could have a normal, sane, inside voice conversation with 6ix9ine is beyond me, because throughout this interview he was extremely agitated. So the main reasons behind his snitching was he didn't want to spend extra time in prison and kind of protect himself.
So this is what I'm saying. If you was in that position, you would have did that, Tom?
In the process, he mentioned the likes of King Von, Nipsey Hussle, and Pop Smoke, saying that they died lacking.
You never lacking, right?
Never.
So what happened to the niggas that lack?
So what does it really mean to die lacking? Kevin Gates.
Shoot my shot like me punching in a woman with another man? Yeah, I would love to do that.
Even though Kevin's confidence in himself is top tier, which is how most men wish to be, in the interview with DJ Academics, he kind of said that he'll allow another man to smash his girl as long as she tapes it and shows him. That's pretty extreme. Born February 5th, 1986, Kevin Jerome Gilliard, better known as Kevin Gates, is an American rapper, singer, and entrepreneur hailing from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Known for that distinctive voice and introspective lyrics, Gates has established himself as a prominent figure in the hip-hop scene. Now, despite his legal problems and his time in prison, Gates stays committed to a growing fan base that's truly ride or die. The emotional depth of his music and his fearlessness in tackling tough subjects keep drawing people in. And fellas, that's how he gets the ladies. Now, as a man who has children with a lot of other women, he seems to be happily married to Draka Haynes, with whom he also has 2 children. Some guys would get kinda jealous. Most guys would do anything to keep that from happening. But that's not the case with Kevin Gates here. In that interview with DJ Academics, he affirms his unconventional take on relationships, saying he's cool if his lady wants to be with another guy, as long as she keeps him in the loop with some pictures. The irony here is, according to him, it's all good if the other dude respects her the way he does. He even pointed out that some women share this fantasy, but hold back because they're afraid of judgment. For him, as long as there's that connection, he's chill with this woman being with someone else. To each their own, I guess. Who are we to judge people? Gucci Mane.
He needed to be in the ground. Put his ass where he supposed to be. He tried.
In a shocking revelation during his interview with Charlemagne the God, Gucci Mane with a poker face talks about a story of a killing, one claimed to be in self-defense. Rather than expressing remorse, Gucci showed that he had no regard for Pookie Loke, whom he shot dead, dismissing any semblance of regret for the incident. Born February 12, 1980, in Bessemer, Alabama, Raedrick Delantic Davis, better yet known as Gucci Mane, is that influential American rapper, entrepreneur, and author. Emerging from Atlanta's vibrant hip-hop scene in the early 2000s, Gucci quickly gained recognition for his distinctive Southern style and charismatic personality. Despite being one of the most popular and successful rappers in the industry, Gucci Mane's life came in contact with many hurdles along the way to the top. A gangster in both lyrics and lifestyle, he was basically a walking bag of trouble, bouncing from one legal problem to another from 2001 all the way to late 2016, making him spend most of his time in prison. In 2005, one of the major issues he had, which took center stage of his interview with Charlemagne the God, was the killing of Pookie Loke in what seemed to be a brutal shootout between Gucci's companions and another group of men hanging with Pookie. At that time, Gucci turned himself in and was eventually charged with the murder of Pookie Loke, even though he claimed that the shots fired by him and his companions were out of self-defense. However, the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office dropped the murder charge due to insufficient evidence. His interview with Charlemagne was basically a conversation about his growth, how he came from where he was to where he was then, especially the journey with his wife and how she endured him until that point. Now, the scary part of this interview was when he was asked about the killing of Pookie Loke, and he replied with a chilling tone saying, "He needed to be in the ground. I put his ass where he was supposed to be. He tried me." Without a doubt, this soundbite is by far one of the most gangsta soundbites in all of rap history. The Game.
The number one issue with that is that you can be fooling somebody and you can give them AIDS and they can die. And so that in the closet shit is real scary.
In 2011, during an interview with Vlad TV, The Game exposed the secrets of gay rappers in the hip-hop industry. And where this interview became disturbing was the revelation of how these rappers pretend not to be gay and are allegedly carriers of AIDS, which they spread to the opposite sex in most cases. Born November 29, 1979, Jaycon Terrell Taylor, better yet known by The Game, is that American rapper, actor, and entrepreneur in LA, California. In the 2000s, he rose to fame, unleashing his first album, The Documentary, in 2005. The album, receiving both critical acclaim and raking in commercial success, reluctantly catapulted The Game into the spotlight as a notable figure in the realm of West Coast hip-hop. And as wonderful as those achievements might sound, most people knew that the entertainment industry wasn't without its secrets, some being more vicious than others, and that The Game's popularity and longtime friendship with Vlad TV brought about this disturbing interview, where he was asked to speak about one of the underlying secrets of the music industry. Here he would share an opinion on a very controversial topic, as he would delve into the world he knew existed, a world where gay rappers moved in cloak and dagger towards their sexual orientation, while engaging in behaviors that, according to The Game, pose serious health risks to the opposite sex and a vast majority of people. He used his interview with Vlad TV to clear the air, saying that he had nothing against gay people as far as they're not in the closet, hiding it from people, and anyone is free to be who they want to be. His major issue with them is those who hide the fact that they're gay, mingle with the opposite sex as a cover-up, and like we said earlier, spread the infection to the opposite sex, who may in turn spread it to another, and then another, killing a lot of people with this infection in the process. Is it possible? Are there gay rappers out there with such motives? Or could the game be speaking from his experience as a victim of such an act, even though he says he has no issues with gay rappers? Well, as far as this interview goes, no one can really tell. Ice Cube.
Me and my friends was going around the corner to kill him.
In that interview with Graham Barsinger, hip-hop icon Ice Cube opened up about an ugly incident from his youth that nearly crushed the trajectory of his life. Sounds pretty crazy, and this is a story that'll leave you intrigued. Born June 15th, 1969, O'Shea Jackson, better known as Ice Cube, is that iconic American rapper, actor, producer, and filmmaker. Hailing from South Central LA, Cube emerged as a central figure in hip-hop during the late 80s as a member of the groundbreaking group NWA. Now, despite his success both in the music and movie scene, his childhood trauma still haunted him, and it wasn't until his interview with American journalist Graham Barsinger that he was able to shed more light on this dark chapter that remained largely undisclosed. This incident came into play during his time as a youth and really gave a glimpse into the challenges and adversities that he attained before his stardom. With no excitement in his eyes, he recalled having a drug-addicted classmate go into his house and give his mother this crazy story which he used to extract $20 from her. When Ice heard about this, he became pretty mad because money wasn't easy to come by. So with that mounted anger in him, he would find a weapon, organize his friends, and go to the house and try to kill this kid. Fortunately for them, his friend was nowhere to be seen. It was during this time that it gave him a sobering wake-up call, prompting him to reassess the path that he was on. And with a sense of maturity and wisdom gained over time, he can talk about these disturbing stories that affected his childhood. The interview would also delve into his mindset a little bit as a teenager. He talked about the way he was crushed when his half-sister was murdered by her husband, and how he saw life from a different angle, to various other factors that made him the person he is presently. His happiness was that he didn't carry out the intended killing of his schoolmate, because we all know where he would have ended up. He said, "I'm glad he wasn't there. Nobody should die over $20. XXXTentacion.
So now, where do you guys stand? Like, what's good now?
I still think Drake a fuck nigga. As a man, no, I'm keeping a blood raw. I still think Drake a fuck nigga.
The scariest part of Tentacion's live interview with academics was when he said, "The nigga tried to sacrifice me." That was him referring to Drake as how Drake went on to copy his style. And a few weeks later, TripXX was murdered. Born January 23, 1998, Jose Duane Ricardo Onfroy, also known as TripXX, was that American rapper, singer, and songwriter who left his mark on the music industry. Hailing from Plantation, Florida, TripXX rose to fame with a unique blend of genres, including hip-hop, R&B, and rock, showcasing a versatility and unique style. Before his tragic death back in 2016, he faced legal troubles where he got arrested and accused of aggravated battery of a pregnant woman, domestic battery by strangulation, false imprisonment, and witness tampering. These charges were related to incidents with his then-girlfriend. He was eventually released from jail, but that was where his anger for Drake began. In his initial interview with 105.3 The Beat Radio, after he was released, he gave in detail how Drake came up and stole his style without any form of notification while he was still in jail. And he said he couldn't do anything about it due to the fear of going back to jail. He said at that point he was going to be the villain in order to get attention. Well, he got attention, because in a later interview with academics, he apologized to Drake for going after Drake's mother and insulting him, but that he had to do it to get the attention he needed. Later in that interview, he said that Drake tried to sacrifice him due to the way he copied his style and how the feud between them stretched. June 18, 2018, X was leaving a sports dealership in Deerfield Beach, Florida, and two armed men would approach him and brutally fire a hail of bullets, killing him instantly. All eyes were on Drake as he was accused of having a hand in that death. His lyrics on the song On BS didn't do any good to vindicate him, as it gave a little confirmation of that accusation, because in that song he says, "If he held his tongue on that live, he'd be alive again." I mean, it's not really a confession. Was Drake referring to TripXX? I guess we'll never know.